Hello everyone, it's me, Daniel. So if you follow the Vlogbrothers/Nerdfighter community, you've probably heard some bad news recently. Hank and Katherine Green have lost a member of their family. Their beloved greyhound, Lemon, has passed away due to osteosarcoma. Hank, I know there may be few words that really comfort at a time like this, but I will say that I both sympathize and empathize with your situation. My cat Spots died about a year ago at Christmas time. Less robotically put, I'm so sorry, Hank. We love you, and you love Lemon, and so in our own way we all loved Lemon. And we are very sorry that she's gone. If I may, Hank, I'd like to do two things today. First, I want to say it's so weird how I no longer feel I can offer condolences without being cold or derivative. I mean, there's so many ways to try to communicate this feeling to someone. My condolences is good, but it's a bit short. It sounds convenient. Cheap, like a greeting card. I'm sorry for your loss implies a distance, a detachment for how your loved one is feeling right now. Just I'm sorry sends confused messages of sympathy and apology, and again, it's way too short. If there's anything I can do. If there's anything I can do? There is absolutely nothing I can do, and I know it. I know it, and I always feel stupid for offering, no matter how well-meaning the gesture is. Anything to do with thoughts and prayers is very genuine, but can get really sticky. I mean, existential and religious crises are very common at times like these. And if your friend's a militant atheist, don't even think about touching that one. I'm here for you. I guess that's very accurate and well-meaning, especially preceded by an I love you, communicating a feeling of solidarity and community in a time of loss. I guess that's the closest thing I can come up with to expressing how I feel at that moment. In reality, how I feel can only be expressed in a gesture. Why do you think hugs feel so good? Mammals like closeness for cheering up times. I mean, I think what we're really trying to communicate here is sympathy and empathy. The difference, as I understand it, being that empathy is a relation to the experience and the emotion, but sympathy implies you haven't gone through this personally, so you can only sympathize with the emotion the person is feeling. And there seems to be no way of communicating, in English, empathy. Especially not with the word empathy. I empathize with you. Oh really? Thanks, Data from Star Trek. Actually, even Data would have worked out the logical flaw in there, since by his standards he can't feel anything. So I guess this whole debacle is why hugs still exist. We haven't figured out how to communicate oxytocin from a distance. And it's why we have the eulogy, because one phrase is never enough. Hank, the eulogy you performed for Lemon was beautiful, and we love you for sharing it with us. We were honored to take part in something so personal for you. It was moving and emotional and, well, yeah, beautiful. That really is the only way I can describe it. Why do words fail us in these times? It's so horrible. But beautiful is the word. There is a beauty to be found in sadness, which most of us deny ourselves because of all the pain we have to go through to get there. Admittedly, it's much easier to find the pain in sadness than to find the eventual and bittersweet pleasure that comes from experiencing full sadness. In fact, I think it's that desire to avoid pain and remain coherent that we say things like, my condolences. Because to truly be empathetic, we would have to share in each other's pain. And we're never sure that that would even help the situation. And truly, I don't have that answer. But I think I might have a clue. So in your video, Hank, and this was the second thing, you talked about how Lemon was probably better off with you than she was in racing, but you also talked about how you thought you got the sweeter end of that deal. That since you can think more and feel more, that she meant more to you than you and the life you provided meant to her. And though I understand where you're coming from, as John would say, I disagree with your premise. I mean, as you said, you didn't get Lemon because it was a mutually beneficial business arrangement or because it was the right thing to do. You got Lemon because you and Katherine wanted a companion. A furry one with a waggy tail and a cuddly body and long running legs that look really creepily spidery when they stick up like that. But really, the whole rational actor and cost-benefit model breaks down when you talk about companionship. I mean, we can all be rational and analytical in trying to work out the details of a relationship, but in the beginning and the end, the motivation is not rational. You wanted a dog, a cuddle buddy, a fart patsy. You wanted all of that because you just did. And Lemon? Well, if she seemed happy enough with you, and she did, then yeah, that might be all that really matters. It got me thinking about that philosophical question about, do animals have empathy? Now my immediate smartass response would be, of course, we're animals, we have empathy. So it's possible. And sarcasm aside, I think there's something to that. I mean, if we evolved by mutating and branching off a parent species, then who's to say we're the only animals that ever found empathy evolutionarily advantageous? If you define empathy as that invisible element, that glue that holds communities together, then yeah, any animal with a social dynamic should have some form of empathy. And of course, there's the obvious evidence that empathy not only exists in the animal kingdom, but is evolutionarily beneficial. Like how some animals practice altruism in food gathering behavior because there are probably relatives in their flock and they're passing their own genes on. But then there's that behavior that we can't really explain in those terms. Like how mother elephants will stay by their dead infants long after it's clear they have passed away. Or in this playful yet resonant video of a sea lion apparently playing tag with a little girl and suddenly looking concerned when the girl falls over. Now, of course, you could say, well, we have no way of knowing what it was doing. It could have just been looking at the change in movement. Or even worse, maybe it recognized a vulnerability and started seeing her as a potential food source. And those people may be right, but I think they might be suffering from a bit of anthropocentrism. I mean, if we are animals, and we are, there may be some other species for whom empathy is possible. And to go even further, so what if we only interpret such behavior as empathetic? I mean, things can get complicated when we think we know everything animals feel, but in that case, it's very easy and harmless to see that sea lion as being, well, caring. And then it hit me that that's really why we have pets. Because we are mammals and we like having something to cuddle with, and chances are they won't mind either. And so it really doesn't matter whether they can read your mind or your emotional vibes or even your face. They're predisposed to like the same kinds of physical contact that you like. Which in the end, that's the purest way that humans have found to convey empathy to one another. Does that constitute real empathy? Maybe so, maybe not, but I think the real end point here is maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe empathy truly is in the mind of the beholder. So no matter whether your cat or dog is nuzzling you because you forgot to feed it, or because it wanted something, anything to cuddle with, or because it looked in your eyes and knew that you needed cheering up, if it made you feel even a bit better, it was worth having them around. And maybe just having friends present at a time of loss, no matter what they say or do, maybe them just being near you, here for you, is enough. Hank and Katherine, we are here for you. We love you and we loved Lemon, and without giving you a hug, that may be the best we can do, but I hope that maybe it helps. Flights of Angels, Lemon. World, I'll see you tomorrow.